Good day, fellas. I hope you're ready for your daily dose of skill. We have a new tank in the game that you can buy for gold. I have no clue how much it is going to cost, but hey, we are going to play with it and we are going to check it out. And meanwhile, quick information for every and each of you. There is two new commanders in the game. I believe every and each person knows Eek. He's Wargaming employee, right, and streamer and doing many other different stuff as well. And there is another gentleman, Richard Cutland. Looks like this gentleman served in the military, so I would say he is the he's the tank expert, if we can say so, right? There's a history about both of those gentlemen. And yeah, that's all there is to say. 25 stages, fellas, that we need to complete, right? And we have time from June 20th to July 8th. So we have pretty much 2 weeks to deal with absolutely everything. Okay, fellas, let's check out the armor of this tank. And yeah, this is a sneak peek, fellas. This is a sneak peek. You know how the things are looking like. Beautiful. Okay, enough of flexing. Let's see how the armor is looking like. Speaking about the armor, upper plate is like 150 millimeters. Lower plate is also around 150 millimeters. If we are talking about the turret is also around 150 millimeters. In other words, this tank can be penetrated without bigger problems whatsoever, right? Although some tanks may need to shoot the gold at you. Plus, on top of that, whenever you are side scrapping with this vehicle, as you can see, you can penetrate this tank into the track as well, so it is far away from being ideal, okay? Although, I played some games with this vehicle already. I am pretty much recording the armor module of this tank at the moment. I can tell you that much that this tank can bounce. Until you are meeting someone who is willing to shoot the gold, and if someone is willing to shoot the gold, oh boy, this is no bueno. Now let's check out the stats compared to the Churchill 7. Looking into the stats of the tanks, what do we have? We have pretty much Churchill 7 and Crocodile. They are copy-pasted tanks, and A43 BP looks like it has a better penetration with the standard shells, right? But worse DPM. Unfortunately, although a bit better shell velocity. Overall gun handling, it looks like it is worse than on Churchill 7. And it's slower. So honestly, where the paper goes, fellas, it doesn't look very awesome, or it doesn't look very good, but hey, it's only the paper. Maybe it will feel significantly better, and maybe we will feel like a bloody monsters over there. Who knows? Let's see. Okay, fellas, very first battle, Live Oak Standard battle. So first things first, I treat this tank and I look this tank as a typical Churchill, right? Even though this vehicle is Blood Prince prototype, if I understand this correctly. For me, it is a typical Churchill. At least this is how I look into all of this. It is slow as F, okay? You can watch Netflix meanwhile in the background, or you can have a conversation with your wife, or you can think about whatever you want to think, right? This tank is not a speedy Gonzales or whatever, you know? It's not a fast tank. What do you want me to say? It doesn't change the fact that probably this tank will be able to bounce one or another shot. That is a great thing, and that is absolutely glorious. The standard penetration of this tank looks more likely like a Firefly instead of Churchill, because Churchill has lower penetration. The gold penetration is very good. 239 millimeters of penetration. That's nice. I think this is a Blood Prince gun on this vehicle, honestly. At least this is how it looks like, although with a worse DPM, I guess. But once again, the main killer for this vehicle, at least that's what I want to believe, is going to be how slow this tank is. And obviously a lot of things are depending on what kind of enemies we are going to meet, and can enemies penetrate us or not. If we are going to fight against the tier 4s or tier 5s, I believe this tank is going to look very good, and everything is going to be great. If we are going to fight against the tier 8s, I think the situation looks pretty bad and pretty pathetic, to say that the least, right? But once again, a lot of things are depending on the matchmaking, right? So we are entering the city after 2 minutes of driving, fellas. 2 minutes of driving and now we are in the city. And whenever we arrived into the city, the party just started, right? Now we can have some fun, now we can go up front against this bloody tiger 131 and we can just simply show the dominance, right? This is exactly what we've been looking for and this is exactly what we want to see. That's great, we are doing good stuff. Now, it happened to be that we met the almighty Arl, who is going with a gold. You know what that means? That means our armor doesn't exist. He's just simply slapping us like there is no tomorrow and we can pretty much cry about unlucky RNG or bad matchmaking or how big of the gold noob enemy tank is, right? That's all we can do in this situation and that is completely fair. So, I think my opinion is very, very clear about this tank, even without digging too deep into this tank, right? I think the tank overall is going to be probably average. And this is a typical Churchill. If it happened to be that you enjoy playing with a Churchill and you have a great time playing with it, I have no doubts whatsoever that you may enjoy this vehicle as well. But if it happened to be that the Churchill isn't something what you would look for, and it happened to be that Churchill is not your favorite vehicle in the world of tanks, right? I want to believe this tank won't be the tank created for you. Although for a lower tiers, this tank can be a noob destroyer, if you know what I mean. And not in the negative way, you know. Not every and each player is professional player in the world of tanks, and not everyone knows how to play the game ideally. So pretty much you are relying on the luck of meeting not so great players, right? Once again, unfortunately, I do not know for how much Wargaming is planning to sell this vehicle, right? I just simply cannot answer into your question, but I would guess probably it's going to be around 3,000 or 4,000 gold or something like this, right? At least that's what I would bet. So, is it worth, let's say, 5,000 gold? Honestly speaking, I think this tank is either for a Churchill lover or either for a tank collector. One out of two. I cannot see this thing anyhow differently. And yes, I know that you can get a very, very good matchmaking and you can be very, very lucky and you can be the living crap out of the players even with TVP VTU or MX65T, right? Sure thing you can have a great match or something, but what I'm trying to say it's not going to be a meta tank and it is not going to be, oh my bananas, you missed this vehicle for yourself. Ooh, shame on you. You have no clue how much you missed. Ay, 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 ay. You know, it is another Buzzer 176 opportunity. Hell no. It is definitely not the case, and it's definitely not that type of vehicle, right? If you miss this tank, you are completely fine. If you bought this vehicle, well, you have another tank to get Ace or Mark of Excellence on, and you can forget about it after playing a couple of games if it happened to be that Churchill isn't your most enjoyable tank to play with, right? At least this is how I look into all of this. Ooh, this is Armageddon, fellas. This is how I look into this situation. For me, this is pure Arta paradise, if you know what I mean. This is pure Arta paradise, fellas. It is matter of the time whenever they will come for us and whenever they will eliminate us from the game, and believe me, elimination is coming. I mean, this tank has a bit of the armor. You cannot say it doesn't bounce absolutely anything. That's not the case, fellas. That is not the case. But what's from that Arta is ignoring your armor nevertheless, and unfortunately, the speed isn't here. It's okay. For a very first game, I'm not going to cry over it. 1.7 thousand damage, that's fine for tier 6. Let's see the next games. Okay, we are back. Unfortunately, we did not win the very first game, but that's to be expected, and this is completely normal. So we got ourselves the third class, 1.7 thousand damage, 4 kills. We are first by experience, we are first by the damage. Not a bad game for a Churchill, honestly, or excuse me, Blood Prince prototype. And we made like 42,000 profits, although most of them are coming from completing missions, so it doesn't look that promising, to be fair with you. Okay, round number 2, Tundra Standard Battle. Let's see what this tank can bring for us. By the way, one thing what I noticed, matchmaking is very, very nice. I would love to see this tank performing against the tier 8s or against the tier 7s, right? Because now we are feeling like we are the biggest powerhouse out there, you know? It feels like we have all advantage in our baboon pose, okay? This is how it looks like, fellas. But that's okay, I'm not complaining. Thank you very much. Give me more games like this, pretty please. Now, a lot of things are depending. Will our team be able to take the hill or not? And apparently our team took the hill. That's amazing. I mean, at the moment we are chilling, at the moment we are having the best time ever. Now, what is the worst part of all of this? More likely we are going to take one for the team from Almighty Zadimka. But that's okay. Honey! Zadimka! Zadimka. Sorry, fellas. Zadimka. I needed to, fellas. I needed to. You see, we have a vocabulary in front of our eyes. All we need to do, we need to use it. So luckily, Zadimka missed. He did not manage to slap us, and now we are feeling very, very good. Meanwhile, our goal is going to be to eliminate this Mother Trucker T150. The DPM of this tank definitely doesn't feel the greatest, fellas. I definitely need to highlight that. I do not feel like the DPM would be great, and it definitely isn't great, okay? Although armor feels kind of okay-ish, and at least we can slap the enemies for their mistakes in this way. Ooh, I do not know how to feel about this tank. I mean, slow, armored Mother Trucker. This is how I would describe this vehicle, fellas. Slow, armored Mother Trucker. Is there anything better to say about this tank? Honestly speaking, I don't know. Honestly speaking, I do not know. Can I say something else? I do not particularly love this tank. I mean, to be fair with you, I mean, I do not really mind Mr. Churchill, right? I do not hate it, but it's not like I would say, oh wow, my lovely Churchill, I was waiting for 1,000 years until I can play with you, and now the day has come. Now we are going to Churchill all over the place, and we are going to make enemies to regret their life choices. You know, I do not feel like this playing the Churchill or this vehicle. I am not saying, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that this tank is unplayable or something. This is not what I am saying. But I'm not particularly excited for this type of gameplay or for this type of style of the vehicle. For me, it is a bit too slow and too boring for my liking. But skill, can you make a pressure? Absolutely yes. Skill, can you beat the living crap out of the enemies? Absolutely yes. Skill, can you sing the song while playing with this tank and still be competitive in the game even though you are chilling? Absolutely yes. You can. As you can see, all we are doing in this game, we are going through the middle of the field and we are singing the Churchill song right there. Right? That's all we are doing. Although I am missing a bit of the reload speed, to be fair with you. Comparing this to the typical Churchill, I am missing a bit of the reload speed. So, that being said, skill, I have a question. Is it worth the money? However this tank would cost? I mean, it's not my tank, okay? I am just going to say that straight into the face, and I'm going to highlight. It's not my tank. It's not the most enjoyable vehicle for me, and I have no interest of playing with this tank, or let's say buying this vehicle to begin with, right? So if it happened to be that you are lower tier level, I believe you can have some fun and I believe you can do the things properly. But as you can see, we met a smarter Churchill. This gun is looking like a pile of kaku comparing to the Churchill, normal Churchill gun, right? So it doesn't feel very, very good. That's a fact. The Stug with a full gold ammunition, he's shredding us like there is no tomorrow. It's not like he's humiliating us. It's like he is properly slapping us in the face while saying, no, little bastard, you think the Prince prototype is good? I will give you good. I will give you good. I will show you how good is looking like in the world of tanks. And this is a tier 5, fellas. This tier 5 made us look silly, to be fair with you, right? So I would not call this tank extraordinary or amazing vehicle in the world of tanks or something like this. This tank is created to destroy the lower tier tanks. That's it. That's all there is to say. And the guys who are not spamming the full gold, because if you are meeting the guy who is spamming the gold, he will shred you like nothing. So fellas, after those couple of games, right, I personally, I think I have a pretty good understanding of this tank. For me, this vehicle is pretty much Churchill, honestly. It may look tiny touch different, but for me, it is literally a Churchill. Meanwhile, we came back with solid ace. We have ourselves high caliber, 2.9 or actually 3,000 damage, 100 assisting damage, high caliber, 1.2 base experience, and we made 87,000 profits, although most of the profits are coming from completing the mission. So once again, speaking about this, fellas, I do not look into this tank as a crazy good tank in the world of tanks or something. For me, it honestly looks like a bloody Churchill. I do not see too much of the difference. Yeah, maybe it's tiny touch better armored, fair enough. Maybe it's a bit slower, but the fundamentals of the tank are still the same. If you can look into the Churchill and say, yeah, I love the Churchill and Churchill is my favorite tank in the game, then you will enjoy this one. Other than that, I would say don't waste your money. Usually the tier 6 premium tanks overall are kind of useless unless the tanks are super duper hyper turbo good. This one, in my humble opinion, isn't the finest tank in the world of tanks. Just to say that straight in the face. I just don't think this is the best tank. Meanwhile, we played for a couple of battles. We got ourselves 2,300 average damage, which is good for a tier 6 tank, right? It is completely fine, but overall, I am not super impressed, you know? I would not say that I had the best time ever, you know? Please leave your comments down below. What do you think about it? Do you think I am fair or I am unfair for this magnificent mother trucker? And would you agree with me that this tank pretty much looks like a Churchill 7 or alternatively the Churchill Crocodile, you know? This is the question, fellas. And for now, thank you very much for watching. See you very, very soon. Skill is out for today.